what were you putting, or was trigger warnings getting put on?
Well, I think you spotted what was new about this. I mean, the Students' Union did recognise that they couldn't, with the passage of the Higher Education Free Speech Bill, ban student societies because they didn't agree with their ideas. So they've made the therapeutic turn, which I've talked about many times. They've decided that the way to get their own way and to censor in a slightly, seemingly more compassionate way is to worry about student mental health and their well-being, and the room's put aside so that people can go and chill out if they feel distressed. But it shows what a contemptuous attitude they have to their peers. They're treating them as children. And the other surprising thing, and commentators have mentioned this, that this isn't the management or academics saying that students can't cope. It's actually students saying that students can't cope. But of course, that's misleading, because students are now just part of university management, students' unions. They're on every committee. They're on recruitment committees. So they're effectively part of management. But it did make me think of something that was slightly more worrying about this, because if it becomes the case that we start to censor by being concerned about people's emotional hurt, then we're going to lead to a situation which might actually put an end to the university as we know it. I was thinking about this before I came on, and the university is a particularly unique institution. It's a voluntary community of adults, a voluntary community of adults that are seeking to pursue knowledge. So they're different than a school, and they're different than a workplace. So it's a completely unique environment, but we may be going to see the end of it, and I can explain why if you wish.
Dennis, I just thought, I mean, obviously, people start complaining when people refer to the snowflake generation, and then you hear something like this and people immediately think of it. I always thought that the whole point of universities was that students being exposed to different ideas, views, principles, arguments. That was the whole point of you going to university, to try and broaden your horizons, not just basically let you stay...
Be shielded away from something you don't agree with.
Silo and everything. Shouldn't universities be doing an awful lot more to force their students to engage with opinions that they might feel uncomfortable with?
Well, I think universities have bought into the therapeutic culture. I mean, they don't see that as their job anymore. Hence the Higher Education Free Speech Bill, which is trying to bring students and the universities into a position where they will actually promote free speech. And that's a desperate situation. So things have changed. I agree entirely that that's what the university should be. And in some instances, it is. But there's been a big move.
Dennis, if a trigger warning doesn't work, is this now enabling students to maybe sue the student union if a wellbeing room didn't help them, the trigger warning didn't help them? I mean, where does this end up?
Well, that's what we're going to get in the position where students will start suing about all sorts of issues. And it's actually happening now, because there have been challenges to universities for not protecting people's free speech because they didn't protect their well-being. And I think you could just see a situation, and the concern with mental health that universities have is going to bring about a situation where academics are going to be placed in loco parentis. So they'll have to treat students as if they're their own children. And that will be the end of the university. You can see what's going to happen, because we'll no longer treat them as adults. And I think we have to start saying, what Phil has just said. The university is a place where you're going to be exposed to new ideas. There's a very great statements made in America about this for universities, and people have come out and said it. But then they get attacked, because actually saying what Phil has just said can be seen as hurtful. The fact you're saying I should be exposed to ideas. So even arguing for free speech has become a problem. And I think, so that's the problem we have. But the only way around it is to actually stand up and speak for free speech. I mean, the new Vice-Chancellor of Sussex University said recently that that should be the role of universities. But she had a caveat. She said that lots of academics and Vice-Chancellors and managers wanted to say that that should be the role of university, but they couldn't in the cacophony of public debate, because there's so much debate about free speech. These academics and managers can't speak about free speech. The absurdities that people get themselves into. But I think we should say, free speech, no ifs, no buts. That's what university should be about.